for Julius's nieces on behalf of all my colleagues at City Council and the people of Toronto, because Julius Deutsch was a true city builder. I want to offer him my very sincere condolences. We have almost a quorum of City Council with us. And I do want to acknowledge my colleagues who are here because it says something about Julius and his tremendous reach. Paula Fletcher, and I'm just doing it in order of how I see you. Don't take anything from it. I see Joe Pantalone, Adam Giambroni, Adam Vaughn, Paula, Gord Perks, Janet Davis, Howard Moscow, Pam McConnell, and Sandra Busson, and Joe Mahevic.
Wow.
I want to acknowledge my colleagues. Julius touched all of us, and I like all of us, love Julius, and I think like most of us, spent considerable periods of my life terrified by him. Julius was a remarkable person. He truly was a city builder, and he believed in politics and organizing, I think, the same way all of us do, because it was about real people's real lives and making them better. Not about accounting or balance sheets, about real people, and I'll come back to that at the end. I first met Julius in approximately 1985, I'm not sure when. Elaine Ziemba had just signed me up as a member of the New Democratic Party, and we went out and leafleted on Roncesvalles Avenue for public auto insurance. I won't follow that theme. After that, worked with Julius on at least these election campaigns in my neighborhood. The Elaine Ziemba campaign, the Ziemba campaign, the Polonetsky campaign, the Ziemba campaign, the Miller campaign, the Martinuk campaign, the Ridley campaign, the Miller campaign, the Miller campaign, the Ziemba campaign, the Miller campaign, the Schmidt campaign, the Miller campaign, the Atkinson, Schmidt, Perks, Miller, DeNovo, Nash, Miller, etc. campaigns. And that was just in my neighborhood. And everyone here knows campaigns that Julius was involved in over that period of time across this city. It is remarkable. And I actually, coming today, thinking about what to say, I really wasn't sure how, in a brief period of time, to capture the Julius Deutsch that I've had the privilege of seeing. So I thought I might tell some stories. You know, Peggy started to tell one. Julius called it the Stephen Lewis tour of the writing. It had to be at midnight, and you would drive around and see how the signs were. And if you were a candidate, the fact there were a few more signs was enormously heartening. Now, why you were up at midnight is a separate question, but Julius loved that. In the 1993 election, I was the federal NDP candidate, and it was actually not a very good time to be an NDP candidate, if you remember those times. And I was young. It was only my second campaign. I was still a lawyer on Bay Street, and Julius was a relentless canvassing machine. All of us have seen that. I think you know what I mean. He knocks on the door and just goes. And I'd say, how was that, Julius? We were sort of leapfrogging, and say, very interesting. He spent the entire campaign telling me that people who weren't voting for me were very interesting, but he didn't tell me till afterwards, because he knew I needed the spirit and energy to keep knocking on the doors, even though I had not a hope in winning that riding, which of course was never won, so Peggy Nash ran and won. I spoke with Joe Marzetti and said, you know, do you have any stories about Julius? And she said one of the things was Julius would never let you go. He'd mentor you, and he'd be there for you. He would also never let you go in other ways. And I did take the opportunity to ask people there if they had a word that would describe Julius. And there were some beautiful ones: courageous, committed, loyal, relentless, passionate, solidarity, compassionate, hard worker, sorely missed, always with us, Rottweiler. Somewhere in those words is the Julius Deutsch that we knew and loved, those of us who worked on campaigns with him in particular. I once said to Julius, why are you so passionate about politics? Why do you do all of this? And he said for him it was about human rights. And I think what he meant about, when he used that phrase, was he meant human rights, of course, equity, inclusion. But he also meant ensuring that every single person had a real chance in the world, because that was a human right for him as well. And I think it's in that perspective that he truly is a city builder. I have the privilege as mayor of seeing the results of the kind of work that Julius Deutsch has done happening in neighborhoods around this city and actually around this province. When Julius Deutsch talks about green jobs and fights for them, and fights are made in Canada, I'm the one who gets to go up to Thunder Bay and see the faces of the workers who have those jobs. It's extraordinary. And that's the kind of difference Julius has made. I've just seen it this week. We have these Meet the Mayor events. And there were two of them, both in neighborhoods in this city that have been struggling, the kind of neighborhoods that Julius always fought for. And one of them at Peel and Eglinton, I went and there were young people there who, because of a little bit of city money in this facility, 1652, Keel, a city building that we gave to the community, had started their own magazine. And you should have seen these young people. It had given them pride. It had given them a voice. It had given them the ability to organize. And just off the street, on Eglinton, there's going to be an LRT. And the head of the business association came and hugged me and cried. He cried. A hard-headed businessman. Because he's so desperate for that rejuvenation in his neighborhood. And just today in Scarborough at the Meet the Mayor event, there were people from the community who had organized their own crisis response team to help their neighbors when there's a challenge. All of these things and many more happen to improve real people's lives because of the kind of politics that Julius Deutsch believed in and of the kind of people that he elected. And it may be that I'm being a little political, but I think with Julius, it's truly appropriate. He made an enormous difference by supporting the election of people, supporting them afterwards, and steering them to do the things that they campaigned on and believed in. And that is changing people's lives, not just across Toronto, but across this whole province. And that's the Julius I think of. I think of him at midnight, taking a young candidate around and finding one sign that had his name on, just to give him some hope. I think of him waiting for the phone calls to be sure that the advanced polls come in. And everybody remembers that, don't you? Because once in the Lane campaign, they were winning and lost because of the advanced polls. And I think of him walking down the streets in Hyde Park after knocking on the door saying, very interesting. I loved Julius. I respected him. I admired him. I was a little scared of him. And like everybody here, I will miss him very, very much. Jill and Julie and Simon are here as well. They knew him too. Bob, we all miss him, and we share